I'm ready to slash and burn.
No quarter. I am going to be uncomfortable and all over you from start to finish.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Outside of the Box. And I'm always excited to have previous guests on from past episodes. And I have G-Force Robotics back here with Craig Danby, who I'm sure everybody knows. And I'm so excited to have all of you on the show to talk about what you've got going now.
We're happy to be here. Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Yes, definitely. So real quick, I want to make sure that I get that out of the way, because almost everyone on this call has been on the show before, except Ellie here. So I want to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself and let everybody watching kind of know about your particular interests within combat robotics.
Sure. Hi, I'm Allison Williams. I'm 15 years old, and I am in 9th grade, and I'm a homeschooler. I got involved with G-Force and First Robotics because math and problem solving have always been interests of mine. So when I heard of a local team to me, and they were all girls, and they were doing phenomenal things in their community, that was something I knew I wanted to be a part of. So I joined in mid to late June. I am now on the build team, and I'm the bumper queen for G-Force Robotics. So I work with the bumpers a lot, which are made of pool noodles, wood, and duct tape, and they protect our robot from destruction. Unlike Craig, who's on BattleBots, he would know nothing about that. So, you know.
Yeah, but we don't protect BattleBots from destruction at all. They're meant to be
a little bit.
a little bit.
We try, but then you get Witch Doctor. So.
Yeah, it doesn't always work out. Awesome. And then I also wanted to go to Sloane and Caitlin just to kind of give me a little bit of an update for each of you personally, what you've been working on since the last time that I had you on the show.
Yes, so I've been working a lot in programming on our team in the past few months. Our new robot has a lot cooler mechanisms than our off-season robot, and it's just been a lot of fun learning new things and working together as a team. I'm really excited for our competition.
Yeah, I've been working more on the more mechanical side of our new robot, so that's been really exciting. And speaking of off-season, we actually ended up winning Doyen Inspiration, the event that we went with Electra to. So that was just really cool, like as a pre-rookie team to win our first competition.
We've done a lot of community outreach since they were last on this show in August. And we've been out in our community, but we also went up to Charlotte Motor Speedway and we did a STEM Expo up there. And there were 1,600 students there, over 1,600 students. So it was a great opportunity to talk about FIRST and robots and really meet a lot of the people that were interested in STEM and the girls who were aspiring to have a career in STEM.
Yes,
Yeah.
like Sloane briefly mentioned, the last time that we talked to you, we were actually preparing for our off-season competition in August, and now we're actually preparing for our first real competition as G-Force Robotics, so we're really excited.
Yes, and I want to talk a lot about that because that is upcoming. For anybody that happens to be watching that is in the general North Carolina vicinity, you may be interested and be able to attend. For the rest of us, unfortunately, just have to root on from afar. But I kind of want to hear about that upcoming competition. I know that it was unfortunate because there was a situation where the location ended up being moved, and I know you were probably looking forward to the original plan for that, and things have changed. So kind of each of you can go through and tell me what you've been doing to prepare for that competition and just what the team's been doing as a whole, because as my child astutely noticed, the robot looks different than the previous robot. So I definitely want to hear more about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's actually interesting you mentioned location. So all of our friends who are not in North Carolina, they actually do live stream these events. So if you look up First North Carolina, there's always a Twitch live stream, usually starts about 11 a.m. on Saturday. And then you can also, you know, if you're very dedicated to the process, you can follow us the whole day on Saturday and on Sunday, and make it to our finals and awards. Yeah, so unfortunately with the event not being at Clayton, you know, we're heartbroken. We had so many people, you know, pouring support into this. We're very thankful that another high school could pick this up for us. But once again, I mean, we still feel very proud of the sponsors behind us, very proud of the mentors behind us that have been pushing this, and our local businesses, local people supporting. So we're still very happy to be able to represent them, even if it's about a half hour away. So Allison, why don't we, I was gonna say, why don't we talk robot?
Sure. So the game for this year, it changes year to year. So the game for this year is on a field as usual, but the field is symmetrical. So both sides look the same and they are the same. And they consist of a community, which is basically a big box marked with tape that robots start in. And that's kind of their safe zone where the other alliance or the other team is not allowed within that box so that the robots do not get destroyed. Inside the community, there is a charging station, which you can dock or engage on. So you can earn extra points if you're docking or touching the charging station, or when you're engaged on it, it's a platform that is leveled. So it swivels like this. And when it's leveled, you're engaged and you earn extra points for doing that, as opposed to just getting on it. Inside the community, there's also nodes for both cones and cubes that we can score on, and you earn points for scoring on those as well. 3 in a row, you get extra points. Outside of the community, there are 8 places where the cones and cubes or the game pieces will start on, so robots can go and pick those up off the field. And then for additional game pieces for robots and teams to pick up, there are loading stations where human players will push pieces onto the field for robots to go and collect.
Yes, so with programming for this season, like I kind of mentioned a little bit, like a few seconds ago, it's a lot more complicated than our last robot Electra. Electra was basically just a very simple shooting system where we just sent motor commands, and this one has a whole robotic arm. And instead of mechanical stops, we decided to solve that with programming. And it definitely was a challenge at the beginning, but with our mechanisms, we've gotten them all sorted out and they all work very well. It's very nice. We use PID control on our mechanical arm, which basically just means that whenever the drivers aren't touching like the controls, it still holds its position, which is very nice because it would be difficult to score these cones and cubes if it was kind of wobbling around while you were driving. And overall, it's been a very good learning experience, and I love programming the robot, and I'm excited to see how it performs.
Speaking of our mechanisms, we have 3 main ones. So we have a grabber at the front of our robot, and it has non-rotating compliant wheels like along the sides. So it's sort of like this, and then the compliant wheels are on the sides like this, and it'll pick up cones and cubes and score them. And then attached to that, we have a 1-stage extension, so it reaches out to the high and medium zones. And then we have a big pivot in the back that's controlled by a linear spring. So basically our robot can suplex essentially 270 degrees. So our entire mechanism will start inside the robot, and then once the game starts, it'll like go like that outside. So it's really cool. We've had a lot of challenges, especially with the extension, because I think it just took a lot longer to build than we thought it would. So meanwhile, while the pivot and the grabber teams, you know, they kind of have to be held back a little because the extension isn't at that level. But we were eventually able to get it there. And so we're just really excited for our testing and then eventually for our competition next week.
Now, Sloane, I feel like we can't talk about a robot that we have that suplexes without mentioning who we got some inspiration from.
Yeah, so as you can tell, probably, we did get inspiration from Slammo because, you know, if you see it, it basically grabs the robot and then boom, right on its back. So essentially our robot was a little inspired by Craig's. And I think, you know, maybe because he was in the shop, he's kind of pushing maybe a little towards it, but
I had no input in your system. I want to make that very clear. I was too busy working on the grabber, trying to make that like fit. I had nothing to do with the way that you were suplexing.
I do
Although,
find that so funny considering the grabber picks up how light are those game pieces? Ounces?
like an
Oh,
ounce
yeah.
or two.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely don't blame you. I'm a big fan of Slammo, so I think that's a great robot to draw inspiration from. That's great. One other thing that I wanted to mention, because in addition to like kind of the preparation for the competition, something that I, really noticed right off the bat is when you got the sponsorship through Rev Robotics, because that's another BattleBots tie-in, because of Greg Needell, who is the captain of Switchback of BattleBots. Like, how cool is that to have that additional support behind the team?
It's really cool. We are one of 25 teams, first robotics teams that are sponsored by Rev this year. And out of those 25 teams, we are the only rookie. So it's really inspirational to be a rookie that measures up to these other veteran teams. So it's a partnership that we hope we can continue in the future to keep working with them, because it's a great partnership. We love to work with them, and their sponsorship means a lot to us.
Yes, we love being a Rev team. We actually use 5 of their motors on our robot. We use 9 motors in total, and 5 of them are Rev. We use 2 Neo brushless motors on our actual pivot mechanism that lifts the whole like extension back and forth. And then we use 3 Neo 550s, one on the actual grabber arms that go in and out to grab game pieces. One on our grabber pivot that can basically pivot to allow us to pick up knocked over cones, as well as like ones that are actually standing straight up. And then we use the last Neo 550 on our extension motor. And we found all of these motors to be extremely very good compared to some of the motors we've used in the past, just because they're very light and they're still strong even when they're light. And in the past, especially with the mechanical arm, we really wanted to try and minimize weight because of how far it is outside of our chassis. And those motors did a fantastic job.
We even have a little T-Rev plushie, and it says he's rooting for 9008. It looks like 8009, but I think it's just backwards. So Rev is hosting a competition where if you promote like their brand and their products and through community service and outreach, you can get points, which will eventually lead to them inviting you back for applying for their sponsorship. And right now we're currently leading the teams, so I think it's just super cool, like as a rookie team. And I just can't wait, because I just like, our team is being a good Rev ambassador, and that's really just an amazing thing.
Yeah, it really is. Because I mean, it's not just getting the sponsorship, but it's like following through and like showing that there's a reason why they chose to support you. That's definitely awesome. Another cool thing, kind of somewhat tied into BattleBots, is this Ellie engineer book that everyone from BattleBots assigned, all the female builders and team members and things like that. When I saw kind of the final product, I was even a little bit surprised, but I mean, it's so cool. And I think that really shows how much everybody in the community supports each other and supports what you're doing. How much did that mean to all of you to have that much engagement for that project?
It was an extremely cool experience. We actually launched this project back whenever we first started our team in July 2022. We decided that the purpose that we wanted to achieve is to inspire younger students in STEM. And through that, what we were trying to do was donate these books featuring the stories of women in STEM to our local libraries and elementary schools. And luckily, we've had very gracious help from some of our sponsors like Lockheed Martin, Caterpillar, Collins Aerospace, and they all volunteered to sign the books, but also BattleBots, which was probably my favorite. Also was all of those competitors were gracious enough to sign those books. And I love this project because it's a great opportunity to work with our sponsors and BattleBots to encourage local students in STEM.
With what Caitlin was saying, when we go out to the elementary schools to donate, we don't just gift them the book. We have one or more than one class actually come out to a gym or a large area where we can tell them about our team, about FIRST, and about our robot. And then we read them the book and donate it to them that way, so that they have this exposure to STEM instead of just STEM. There you go. they really get to learn and engage with us about STEM and learn what we do on our team and what they could do in the future for their teams.
Yeah, and I actually have the book like right here too. So I think it's just really cool because you can see like all of the engineers that signed this. And like especially just to see them like on TV competing, and then like you look down and you see all their like inspirational notes in the book. It's just super cool. Because like some of the robots that we have in here, we have Bloodsport, Banshee, Witch Doctor, Hijinks. So it's just like really cool seeing these highly competitive robots like succeeding in their field, and then just to look down and see the book and them like they're telling you, hey, you can do this too. I just think it's so inspirational.
Yeah, absolutely. Now here comes the portion of the interview where I throw out questions that you didn't prepare for. As I like to do, but they're not too difficult. I'm really curious. I'm sure that you have, but if you've been following this season of BattleBots, I mean, for me, and I think like as somebody who has a daughter who wants to get into first and is really interested in all of this, seeing the emergence of a lot of like female competitors that are new to BattleBots and doing well, like Anna from Ripperoni, is really exciting to see how that's going this season. Jenny from Banshee is another example of somebody who spent a lot of time in first when she was younger and is now kind of more heavily involved in the BattleBot side of things. How does that make you feel watching these ladies on BattleBots that had a first background and kind of been where you are now doing what they're doing today?
It's definitely extremely inspiring to watch all of that. I love watching BattleBots. Sadly, our meetings are on Thursday nights, so sometimes I don't get to catch some of the shows, but yeah, it's very inspiring to see all of the women competitors this year, and I love BattleBots, so it's great.
It's interesting to see like where our first experience will take us as well. There's been a little bit of chatter among some of the girls on the team that maybe when we grow out, a couple of us or a few of us, or we move on, form a BattleBots team. So that's something that we're just kind of joking about, but it is something that's, gives you a goal or an aspiration that this is what I can do with the things that I've learned. And this is how I can show the world like what we can do.
Honestly, I'm all for the BattleBots team too after first, because there's a lot of us on the team who are already talking about putting flamethrowers on our first robot, even though that won't even make it a second past inspection, maybe
Every
not
year.
even into the building without
Every year.
another team. Yeah, without another team pointing it out. So, but after our first experience, I mean, I'm super excited. I'd be totally down for it. So.
Me and Sloane will go.
Yeah.
That is Craig's responsibility. Craig, that is all you. So actually one of the cool things that I read about was MIT News did an article about Lucy and Ginger from Valkyrie. And just to hear kind of their side of the story, I always like hearing sort of people's thoughts behind what they do and their motivations, and for them to hear more about like their decision making, how sometimes just the conditions are, the conditions you're in, the hype, the pressure, sometimes you just have to go for it. Even when maybe you're not sure, you don't feel like you have all the information. At least for me as a coach, especially as a young coach, is really inspiring to know that, sometimes, even the quick decisions, if it's not, sometimes you just have to go for it and you just have to push the team forward. So to have women that are a bit closer to my age as well is really cool. I didn't have that when I was the girl's age. So getting to hear from women like that is really cool to see.
Yeah, definitely. The only thing is that if you start a BattleBots team after you're out of high school and like done with the first stuff, if you don't invite Olivia to be on the team, she's probably going to be upset. So I'm just going to warn you in advance. She asks me every day. That would definitely be a really cool thing. Now, a follow-up question to that, and I don't remember if I asked this last time, but I'm still going to ask it because Allie definitely didn't answer the question. But if you designed a robot, what would be your weapon of choice for that robot?
A flamethrower. No question. A flamethrower.
It's going to be a 4-wheel drive vert like everybody else.
Hot pink.
Definitely.
Hot
yeah.
pink vertical spinner. You definitely haven't catted it already. You're fine.
With a flamethrower.
Don't reveal the secrets, Craig.
Goodness. Something that launches something.
Everyone's agreed on that.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I feel like blades, I don't know. I kind of look at all the like power tools in the shop. I'm like, I feel like if you just like, merge these all together, might not be dangerous to another robot, but it'd certainly be dangerous to us.
I think we could find a way to make find a loophole in the rules for bombs just to make them legal, like tiny ones, but enough to do damage.
Listen, projectiles are legal. We can put a cannon on the robot.
Ooh.
That's my proposal.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, right.
They are legal. So yeah, because double jeopardy. So they've done that.
We just got to keep inside the speed limit. So as long as we stay inside the speed limit, we're fine. We can do a cannon.
How about a cannon that shoots miter saw blades that are on fire?
I like that idea.
Beautiful.
It's like all in one.
Thank you.
Allie, you're off the team.
We need her for the bumpers.
I still want a robot with a harpoon. Somebody has to do it. I really want a harpoon.
We can dress up in like sailor stuff, like whaler stuff, and we can go after Kraken with a harpoon.
I think that would work. No, I've said this a couple of times, my personal idea, I'm not a builder. My child is the one that's a builder. Sure, I can try, but it's just like, I have taken like bookshelves, very basic bookshelves with instructions and still managed to not assemble it correctly. So I'm not quite sure that I'm cut out for that aspect of things. But if I could design a robot with my daughter's tastes in mind, I have said that it would be a hammer bot with a flamethrower. And at the end of the hammer, it would be the shape of a high heel, and its name would be Cinderella.
Oh, that's perfect.
That's a good one.
You have a new robot design, folks.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't think she'd disagree with me. So yeah, there's lots of fun things for sure. And yeah, the weapon types are certainly part of that. Now, once you get through this competition, is there anything else that G-Force has planned for the rest of this year at this point?
We have quite a bit planned, don't we? I think we always manage to just stay quite busy. Actually, Caitlin, why don't you tell everybody what's coming up in May?
Yes, so we are actually hosting the STEM hangar of the Wings Over Wayne Air Show. We are inviting over, I think, 24 first teams on all different levels, from first robotics competition to first tech challenge to first Lego League, so just like the middle school all the way up to the high school. And we're actually going to have a practice match going on to show everybody what first robotics is and how students compete in it. And then aside from that, we're also going to have over 40 booths that have some of our sponsors and some companies just to educate people more about STEM.
There's estimated to be roughly 80,000 people, I believe, there for the air show. So it'll be a great opportunity to talk about robots, talk about STEM, and really advocate to these younger students about what they can do with FIRST.
And I think Allie is like 180,000 to 200,000 people. I mean, it's huge. And it hasn't been around for a while because of COVID. So I think everyone's like super excited about it. So who else, like Sloane, who else do we have showing up there? Because it's not just FIRST, we've got a whole collection.
Oh yeah, so some of the sponsors that we'll have joining with us are like NASA, Caterpillar, a few others that I'm not. Will we have Rev there? Craig, BattleBots. Yes, that's right. Sorry. We'll have Craig.
We'll have Gene Haas.
Yeah. Gene Haas. Yeah. So just a lot of like a bunch of different STEM companies and also a handful of our sponsors. So
We're excited to have DoD STEM there. And just, the Air
Right.
Force in general is super supportive of what we do, and we've loved going out to the Air Force Base and actually partnering with them on some of the days that they do out there to bring in students and show off robots. So they have their, explosives ordnance bots, and we've got, our robot that maybe doesn't deal with such things at that level of destruction, but it is very cool to definitely see the kids and to inspire them that way.
That sounds awesome. Always good to have, those other things to look forward to. And it sounds like a really big event. So that's a great opportunity to, reach a lot of people and kind of show them what you're doing.
Absolutely.
We're very
Absolutely.
excited. It's going to be like whole field set up so we can actually demo the robots and show them what we've made and what other teams have made and what the middle school teams have made. And it's going to be an awesome day, awesome few days.
Mhm.
Yes. And then since I've asked so many questions of the girls, I'll ask Craig and Lee, since the last time that we all spoke, what are the biggest takeaways or things that you've seen in terms of progression of how far these girls have come in learning, about robotics?
Craig, I'd have to put that to you first, because I think
well,
we've both seen a ton, but
when we first started back, whenever it was, like first day, we were teaching them to solder, and we were showing them how to use hacksaws and which end of the drill to point at things when you want them to die, things like that. And now it's like you would like kind of show them how a hacksaw works. It works in both directions, so follow through, and there's a rhythm to it. Now the girls are like just hacksawing through things and drilling holes everywhere and soldering stuff, and they're better solderers than me, which kind of explains some of my issues that I've had on BattleBots, but we won't talk about that. The progression, like where they were a year ago to where they were when they went to their first competition, it's night and day. And since the first competition, the bot they had then compared to the bot now, again, is completely night and day. The robot they've got now is phenomenally different. It's completely different from the old robot. And better than that, it's far more complicated. And better than that, it's far better made. I mean, these are the same girls that made that robot, but it's way, way better made. Like it could take a suplex from a real BattleBot and not die immediately. I mean, parts of it would, but it could survive a little bit, which we will find out on Saturday. Joking, I'm not going to suplex it. I nearly suplexed one of the old robots and nearly lost someone.
Yeah, it has been amazing to watch the girls. I mean, one of the things I'm most proud of is that sometimes with huge teams, I feel like these students really miss out on the one-on-one training, the one-on-two training of, here, let me sit you down and let me show you how to do this so that you can enable the next person to do this too. Right. And so out of our 11 girls, we have 10 builders because we have one very proud marketer that is very good at what she does. And so of our 10 builders, they can build, they can wire, which is also super rare for a team to have students that everyone can just jump into the wiring and do. And then we have a few programmers just because that is so specialized and because we have to kind of put them in a corner and say, hey, program the bot, right? But I mean, the fact that they all know so much means that they all help each other so well. So the collaboration has been huge because now instead of just having, these veteran members coming in that have seen this before, our newer members have 100% caught up and they are a part of that conversation. And, they're just as in it as our veterans are because they have been able to learn so much in that amount of time. I'm learning so much in this amount of time.
I mean, we still have the same thing where some of the girls are stronger in different things. Caitlin's really, really strong on the programming side of things. Like her programming side of things is better than some of the programmers that I interviewed this last week for my job. Like if she came in for an interview at my place, they would employ her because her programming is that good. Sloane is kind of a natural leader of the team, and she's kind of the mechanical brains of it all. And I'm so disappointed she doesn't want to be a mechanical engineer because she'd be fantastic at it. And Allison Ellie is the knot queen. She's the only one that turned up that knew how to like not roped together for when we did our climbers and stuff. They were all incredible. Every single one of the team that I could go through every single one of them and say, this one is strong at this, this one is strong at this, this one is strong at this, this one is strong at this. They've all got strengths. And they keep getting stronger every single time we meet. They keep getting better and better. You know, they're all way better than they were in September. And in September, I was so impressed with them. My first day at BattleBots, I spent on my phone going, how are you doing? How are you doing? I was texting like Shannon and Louis, like, what's going on? Where are you? And I didn't go through safety the first day because I was too busy checking on the girl. That's how much it means. You know, to me, it's been, I've loved every second working with these guys. They've been awesome.
That is very awesome. And I'm sure for the three of you, it's great to know that like you have that support behind you and you have people working with you that really believe in your abilities and what you're doing.
Definitely. Even as a girl on the team, like I look to the other members and I can see like Sloane's a leader, Caitlin's a programmer, the girls on our team. As a girl on the team, I can see the strengths in the people around me, and it's nice to know that the mentors see it too. That and the strengths that we have allow us to get different tasks completed. So with me and my knots and Caitlin on her programming, we know that programming and knot tying is covered. So collectively, with our strengths, we do really well in the hangar and building these robots. So.
Yeah, and I think even like the other members have noticed how far everyone has come too, because I think it's just cool to me, like to see one of our new members of the team, like at the beginning had no idea what a miter saw was, and now they're using it, like setting it up on their own, and then telling the mentors when they're about to cut, and then just cutting it. Like it's everyone's come so far, and I'm super proud personally too.
Yeah, it used to be that we would have to guide the girls through like using everything. It's like, it's how miter saw works when you do this. And now there's a girl on the team called Shelby, and the way that she cuts through stuff is she pulls the trigger and goes, loud noise, drunk, like a hammer saw, like she saw blazes through everything. I was like, okay, girl, calm down. We can go slower than that. But like the fear of tools has gone. They're all superb.
That is so awesome to hear. And it excites me because, you know, I think about like, if I interview you all in 6 months, like, where are you going to be then? You know, that's really exciting.
World champions.
Exactly. Yeah. And needless to say, I think, you know, like you're obviously would love to have you back on in the future anytime, especially if you build a BattleBot. This is the first podcast you're doing.
Fair enough. I think we can go ahead and put that in the books. Absolutely.
Writing it down right now.
Absolutely.
As long as this is still going by that, I hope it is. You know, that's certainly the plan. So, but yeah, like it sounds like a lot of exciting stuff. You know, great to kind of hear what you've been working on. That's awesome. Do you have any other like sponsors or anybody that you want to give a shout out to before we wrap everything up?
There are so many. You wouldn't believe. There are so many. All right. Speed run. Who's got sponsors?
Caterpillar, Electric, Collins Aerospace, and
Lockheed. Wait, all right, should we just go around and like name one? Like in
That'll work.
Yeah, like speed run it. Okay.
Go for it.
I'll start. NASA.
DoD STEM.
Rev Robotics.
Tropicana Supermarket.
Vocal Medical.
Women in Networking.
Caterpillar.
Artmosphere.
She-Car.
Schneider.
Griffles.
Sweet Next.
Red Hat.
Gene Haas.
I love how this is becoming a challenge. This is great. No, this is great for their judging prep. Absolutely, this is great. Yes, we have so many sponsors. I'm gonna plug the website, of course. So GForceRobotics.com, all the sponsors are listed. We love all of them. They've all been supportive. A lot of them have joined us on a lot of our events. So we get to see a ton of these people. We get to be mentored directly by these people. It is very nice to just like have 8 engineers literally in your backyard. For Caitlin, that's actually literally true. The shop is in her backyard, but it's awesome to have their mentorship and their feedback. And I mean, to have 11 mentors and 11 girls, I mean, it just works out so perfectly. To where, again, I'm going to pick on the bigger teams for where, you know, there's a point where you just start running out of people that can bring these kids in. And that's where our community has been so helpful too, because that's where the people, you know, that's where the people come in, the people that are local to you. And, you know, for us, we would love to have more girls, but that's a limitation. Is the people that can get involved. So the more people that can, the better.
Yeah, 100%. Maybe I need to move down there. I don't know, because I have one right here that's itching to join. So.
Right? Hey, you know, 12th member, we can make it work.
Well, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, everybody, you know, check out the website, because these girls are going to have a BattleBot team in the future, guaranteed. So just keep paying attention. But yeah, you know, for everybody that watches the show, thank you to everyone that subscribes. If you haven't already subscribed, please make sure that you do that. I am somehow at almost 400 subscribers, so I'm ready to keep it going. Yeah, just support Combat Robotics. So important. You know, these girls are amazing, and we'll see everybody next time on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.